We're going to go ahead and take the mirror glass off of this so we can get access to the inside and get this thing apart. So I'm going to push down on the bottom of the upper, and I'm going to push down on the bottom of the lower. And then you really can't pull this bottom one off. So what you need to do is, if you take like a pick, or you can even do it with a flathead screwdriver, and what you kind of got to do is down in here, you'll see some tabs. And we need to get those tabs back a little bit. So I'm going to just go ahead, try to pull those up gently. Don't over pull them or you'll snap them off. These tabs are at the 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3, and 9 position. So really what I find is if you can get at least 2 of those 4 freed up. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of reaching down in there. Try to free up this one on that side. And there we go. And now I can kind of work that off. Just be careful. If you break them off of there, they won't secure on very well, but you can see them all the way around there, okay, in those positions. I'm going to set that aside. Now, to get the top one off, all right, I'm going to push down on the top. Reach far down in there as far as you can and pull. Never pull on the edge of the glass. It's a good way to break it. All right, so at this point now, what we need to do is go ahead and remove the heater wires. Those should just pull off. Hold them down here. Don't grab them by the wire. Hold them down by the plug. Those will pull off. You got this one here. You're going to push this down, but you also have a little tab right here that holds it back. So you just kind of push that down with a screwdriver or something, and then that'll let you pull that out. And this is set aside. So now we have T15 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. That hold that in there. I'm going to go ahead and remove those. All these screws, all these T15s, you're going to have T15s throughout. The camera light will use a T10, which we'll get to that in just a minute. Those you're going to want to save. I'm going to set those aside. Now, you do want to remove this if you're going to color match. And this is going to color match. So we're just going to go ahead and remove that as well. Now, just pay note as to how this goes together. All right. Anytime you're doing a disassembly for the first time, if you don't have an instructional video like this to refer to, then record or take pictures throughout. All right. So now what we're going to go ahead and do is remove this piece here. Now, this can be a little tricky. I suggest you remove this side piece here, just twist it and it should come out. We can get to this one here in a minute, this top piece. But now what we want to do is just kind of like, I tend to use a long screwdriver here, and I'll show you these tabs in just a second. And I like to go down in there and free up the screws, or not screws, the pieces that hold that in there, okay? And you want to try to not break them, okay? And then be careful when you're pulling this off. You do have this light here, and for whatever reason, I only put 1 screw in here. There's not one up here, and if you pull too hard, you'll end up snapping this down here. So as soon as you get that free, get right to undoing this, or undo it before you start trying to work this off. You're going to color match, take this out as well. This is also just a T15, so go ahead and you can remove that as well. Okay. I tend to use bags to set all my parts in, so that when I come back to it later on, I'm not looking at a pile of parts that I need to try to figure out what goes to what. To get the chrome off, you got 2, 3, there's 4 little clips that hold this. I like to start on the side and then just kind of work my way around. You don't have to undo them very far. Okay, that's that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove this motor. T15s. I'm going to loosen the screws, but I'm actually not going to take it off yet. I'm going to give you a little bit of advice here. Before you remove this, take a marker and mark up. Well, the reason for that is this has a certain positioning, and if you rotate this over and around the wrong way when you push the up direction on your mirror, it will go down and down will go up. So gonna go ahead and remove the wire off the back of there. Set that aside. Make sure you know which side goes to which, so put passenger or driver on there if you need to do that. Like I said, I put everything in bags specific to the side. So now what we're going to do, we're going to remove the remaining screws that hold this center frame in place. Those are also T15s. There's one there, one here, and that's it. So at this point, it's a good idea to take a picture because you want to know where your wires are coming out. All right, having these wires come out the same places is a good idea. So take a picture at this point so that you can refer back to it or just refer to this video and see where they're going. Okay, so now what we need to do is remove these two pins down here. Now, you may have to implement a couple of different methods of getting it out. Sometimes they can be really stuck in there. The method I try to do first is just use a flathead screwdriver, kind of wedge in between the lip and the plastic and just turn. Okay. I get my little baby hammer here, tap that in there, and wedge that out. Okay. Trying to get it out so enough I can get some grips on there and pull that out. Now, make sure when you do this that you watch the lip of this on the edge of this plastic. It likes to catch there sometimes, so just be careful with that. Now you can do something like this if you want. Tap those out, and that's far enough. This is the one that likes to catch. Okay. I've actually got it far enough out, and I feel like I can just grab it with my needle nose here at this point and just pull that out, maybe. Okay, some come out harder than others. Okay. All right, so at this point I want to point out something that's kind of important when you are getting to the end. Let me rotate this around so we got the bottom here. Now, down here in this hole, you'll see there's two pieces that have to go together specifically. So this frame here has a hook right here. You'll see it when I take it apart. It has to slide in under this metal part on the mirror. And if it doesn't, it won't go back together very well. You'll have a hard time lining up all your other things. So let's go ahead and pop this off so you can see what I'm talking about. To do this, just kind of work, just wiggle just a little bit. Don't pry real hard. It'll pop out eventually. Sometimes these guys here need to be worked out a little bit. Just caught here on my hooks. They're not the hooks, these where the pins went through. You can't really use much leverage with a screwdriver because you're leveraging on plastic, so that doesn't really work all that well. Sometimes they just pop out, and other times, when you're trying to do an instructional video, they like to fight you. All right, so a little bit of wiggling. This one actually gave me a hard time trying to get it out. So, but like I said, don't leverage with screwdrivers and stuff. Just keep wiggling it. It will eventually come out. If you try to pry with screwdrivers, it'll probably break something. So I'm just gonna feed these wires out the back. You will have it will be connected wires, little wire hook back there. Pull that out. We'll set that frame aside. Okay, we're down into the mirror now, so if you bought one of our mirror kits or one of our mirror lights, and at this point you're just unhooking this. That looks like a little bee's nest in there. It's good. Glad the residents are gone. Okay, taking that out of the way, and then just push from the back, and there's your mirror light. Okay. If you're, since this is getting color matched, we're going to go ahead and continue to remove this. Go ahead and take this out. And we're going to go ahead and just push this back through. Now, just pay attention to how it goes back in. This hooks up and in and then pushes back through. Okay. All right, now what we need to do is remove our little courtesy light or puddle light, whatever they're calling these things. And there's just a little hook, a little clip right here. Just kind of push it in that way, and then this will come out, unplugs easily. Now we got to get to this stuff. Okay, so we have our camera and our diesel. We have our ambient temperature sensor. Hopefully I'm right when I say that. I think it is. I'm gonna go ahead and remove that T15. Now to get this, pretty easy. Just be careful. You don't want to bugger up your plastics. So we're just going to go ahead and kind of work this up like that. We got like 3 clips right here that hold it in place. And then once you get that done, then you can kind of work this side out. And then there you go. Sometimes this part here, like this, gets caught over there, so just be careful. So now what we're going to do is we're going to remove the clip here for this. This is the camera, so this is the retainer clip, this is the release clip. Okay, and then this is our temperature sensor, so we pull the gray clip back and then push this down, and then we can get that out. Okay, to get this backed out of there, just basically push these clips out, and that way pay attention to how it is oriented all in there. Take a picture so that you got a reference for when you go to put it back together. Otherwise you'll be fiddling around trying to figure that out. So now we have 2 screws here. These are smaller screws. They are T10s. Don't lose these. These go with your camera. So I have a little bag for all my hardware, and I have a bag for the camera. So this is ready to go. This thing is pretty much torn apart as much as you can. Remove, if you're going to color match, get this black, get this off. Okay, you don't want any overspray on that. And, I would cover up this, tape these off so you don't get any paint on these. Wrap these up, tape them up. I would tape these things up. You don't want any extra paint buildup, clear coat buildup all over these, or things aren't going to go back together very well. But this is as far down as you're really going to be able to get this mirror torn apart. There's really no way to get the rest of this effectively apart. Okay.